All in your own words, will you just tell me your story? What happened to you, and do you agree with nurses going on strike and, NHS professionals?
Yeah, so my personal story is around 6 months ago, I had symptoms of a stroke. I was told it would be at least a few hours for an ambulance. So in the end, I had to drive myself to A&E. Once at A&E, it was about 6 hours before I was seen, um, and had some treatment. Luckily, it turned out to be a mini stroke and not a full stroke. Otherwise, I'd have probably been left with lifelong illness from that. But yeah, I fully support nurses and every single person in the NHS going on strike. I think it's in such a bad place. We have records amount of people leaving and not many people coming in, and there's many reasons for that. One of them's pay. The starting salaries aren't enough. The salaries aren't enough to keep people. And you can go and earn more money in the private sector than you can working for the NHS, and that's leading to massive shortages in staff, and the workload's unbearable, and the working conditions are getting worse and worse.
You understand, you worked in the profession, right? And you understand the pressures and the stresses, and you left. Will you tell me why you ended up leaving the profession?
Yep, I'm leaving the ambulance service at the beginning of next month, and one of the main factors behind that is I no longer want to work in a profession where me doing my best isn't good enough anymore. I can work to the very best of my ability, and my colleagues can work to the best of their ability, and we're still taking 8 hours to respond to that elderly relative lay on the floor. We're still taking hours to respond to that person having a stroke. And I can't explain how demoralizing that is when every single day you're going to these patients, apologizing and apologizing for the wait. And no matter what we do, we can't make it any better. It needs more funding, it needs better wages for staff so that people stay and people come into the profession, because we just have not got the resources anymore to offer the service that people deserve.
That there are some people concerned that nurses are going on strike. It's a busy period, it's winter, we have flus around, and the waiting times are already quite high. Can you understand why people are annoyed that nurses are going on strike?
I would say to them people that feel we're going on strike at the wrong time is that our demand levels have been through the roof all year. It doesn't matter if we go on strike in December or in summer or at any point of the year, demand is through the roof. We're seeing winter pressure levels all year round, so it'd have the same effect whenever we did it. And I'd say to them people, we're not on strike now, and your elderly relative is waiting 8 hours for an ambulance. We're not on strike now, and it's taking 10 to 12 hours for people to get through A&E. We're not on strike now, and it's taking us 2, 3, 4 hours to get to people having strokes. So this service is already in a terrible place. We've had over a decade of cuts. We've had over a decade of promising this is going to be fixed, and it hasn't been. So we've been left with no option now than to take action to help the NHS in the long term.
What kind of level of respect do you think nurses need? Do you think they are respected enough?
I think the public respect nurses and respect the NHS. I think the vast majority of the public understand why nurses and NHS staff are taking this action. We've been left with no choice but to take this action. No one wants to do this, but we've been left with no other option. I don't think the government respect nurses in the NHS enough. I think if they did respect the profession, then they would sit around the table and discuss the issues we have. And without that, they're showing a clear lack of respect, in my opinion.